So let's start to moving to sprint 2. But before we move to sprint 2, I want to mention very important notes. Because this backlog not depend on a query, so if we want to customize this view, we have to customize the process template itself. If we go to sprint 2, it will show us the PPIs and the bugs that we assigned for this sprint. We can see here the sprint is part of the backlog for this current sprint. So we can see here this is the PPIs and the bug, and we can see here the start of the iteration and the end of the iteration, and here we can see the Burndown of the sprint, but actually because we don't have any history information yet, so it doesn't show anything. I will show you at the end of the video, like I told you, some historical information and start talk about it. The most important thing here is capacity. In the capacity, we starting adding the capacity of our team, because some member of our team may be working as a part-time, maybe working as a consultant, so they are not available all the time. Some of them may be working on 2 projects at the same time, so they are working 2 hours here and 2 hours there. So we have to specifying the capacity for the team. For me, I prefer to specifying the actual capacity, the actual hour, not the idle hours. If you don't know the difference between the idle units and the actual units, you can search for this concept that introduced by Mike Cohen. But first, the actual units, it's the main hours that you are working, that you are sitting on the PC, excluding the meeting time, excluding the break, excluding whatever, any time outside of your work and you sitting on your PC and starting work. So this is the actual units, but the idle units is the whole units. Okay, so let's start adding time. Brian Kelly is a consultant, so it's just working 2 hours per day, but most of other are employees, normal employees. I can also set a days off for each member, and I can set a days off for all the team. By default, Saturday and Sunday are days off. If we want to change this, especially here in Egypt, we have Saturday and Friday as a days off, not Saturday and Sunday. So we will need to customize the process. Now we will save a change. As we can see here, that according to the start date and end date of the current sprint and the days off, he starts calculating the whole capacity of the whole team and just write how many hours we have in this sprint. And we can see each one how many hours in this sprint for each member of our team. Okay, let's go to the content. Okay, I will start adding tasks. Task 1. Start assigning. This will be for Lara. Task 2. This will be for Safe. I believe that Agile is a self-managed, so it should everyone take his backlog item and start putting the task that he will use, so it will be self-managed. Let's adding another task in this bulk. I will assign to me. At this point, we finished introducing the backlog feature, and then we will move to the board. So the board is the digital Agile wall. As we already know, as most of us know, that Agile depends on the wall to reflect the transparency of the progress of the team. The wall is very important to expose the progress of the team to other teams and for the most of the stakeholders of the projects. We can see here that the board divided into the vertical. It will be here the PPIs and the bugs, and here it will be 3 state for the tasks: to do, in progress, done. It will just show tasks only. It's very easy to take the task here and start, just take it from here and start putting here. That's mean you starting work. But when you start work, you have to identify what is the remaining work to finish this task. So you just, Laura just says that I have 3 hours to finish this task, and when she finished, just drop it here, so it will be 0. If Laura try to get this task back, it will give an error because she didn't specifying the remaining work. So just saying 2 hours. So now she can work on this. She can start updating the progress here by what the remaining hours when she want to reflect the progress of her tasks. We can see here this is the Burndown of the current sprint, and here is the person. I can see all. If I choose Brian Keller, Laura, we can see here this is Laura, Rod 1. If I choose Rod 1 and start adding task, this will making auto assign for this person, because the team access expect for whom you want to assign these tasks. Yes. Okay. I can see from another dimension by team members and the same progress. So now we saw the board feature, which expose and enhance the transparency of the progress of the team to other team members and all the project stakeholders. I will explain now the final part of this video, which is the home page. As we mentioned before, the home page always is a shortcut or the main access for the whole feature of the web access. So these activities is a shortcut for the most of the web access features. So if we click on view backlog, this is the backlog. Instead of I click home and backlog, so you just click here. Viewport, the same, and this is the work items, the third one. The request feedback is the only feature. It is not a shortcut, and there is a separate video and post about the client feedback, which is called feedback manager, and which is called before in the TFS preview. This will open the portal of the team project. This will open the reports on the reporting service. This will show the process guidance. So most of this is a shortcuts for the feature of the web access. Here we can see the member of this team, of the active team, which is team 1, and here we can manage the member also. It's a shortcut for managing the members, instead of go to settings and manage the members. And this part also shortcut for managing iteration and releases, and this for managing area, instead of going to the settings too. So as we can see here, is most of this is a shortcuts instead of going inside the feature itself, inside the web access. Okay, let's describe this part. We can find here, this is the search work items. We can search by the text included in the work item itself. For example, if we search for PPI, it will show all the PPIs. We can also using filter, if we call the assign to, but we have to enclose in double quotation, Lara, Rod 1. So it will show me here all the work items related or assigned to Lara Rod 1. must be enclosed in double quotation. By the way, I post a bug about this double quotation because the Team Explorer is response differently because he put the double quotation automatically. So I'm just if you want to vote for this bug. So here is the work item. We can search for the work item and we can using a filter to enhance our search. Here, this for navigating between recent project and teams. So if you want to move to another team or a team project, so this will be the tool to move from different teams and different team projects. I can browse, and here we can see the default collection, and maybe there is another default collection, and I can choose this. So we will use this to navigate between teams and team projects. Here I can manage my profile, and it's very important to manage my profile, to add the email. This is very important in the alert. So I can changing the picture. Okay. Adding the email which will be used in the alert system in the TFS. Very important. And here is the settings as we saw before to set up security and alerts and iteration areas and so on and so forth. So this is a part. This part is a team favorite. It is a shortcut for most of results for main three things: queries, source control, and build. So we can go to queries and start choosing my favorite queries that I want to see the result always. So it will appear here. So just I click here, it will just show me the query. And the source control also, I can choose the branch, the source control, and add it to the favorite, so I can always see the source control. So it is just shortcut to the main feature as we told before. We can also doing this for build. If we have a build definition here, we can put it, because sometimes we have many build definition. In the source control we have many branches, because sometimes we have 5 or 6 branches and this team interested in a specific branch. So he just select his favorite branch and start adding to the home, so he can very fast access the branch by clicking on the link on the home page. And so the build, if we have many build definition and this team is interested in specific builds, so he will choose this build and add to the favorite so he can fast access it. So now let's see this part. This part is a shortcut for adding different work items. This will add a PPI, this will add a task, bug, and impediment test case. So this part is a shortcut for adding work items. Okay, let's see the final part, which is workload and the Burndown. I prefer to explain this on a historical data of a project. Okay, I open a Fabric and Fiber web access so we can know what is the workload and Burndown. So we can hear that it telling me what is the current sprint and what is the start date of this sprint and the end date. It also telling me the remaining hours of the capacity, or respecting to the capacity. So we have 39 hours remaining of 42 capacity of our teams in during this sprint. And if we click this, we will go to the sprint, and we can see here the workload for the whole team and for a specific member, like any Brian, Keller, Cameron, so we can know each workload for anyone. If we open the Burndown here, we can see the Burndown of the current sprint. So the Burndown is reflect how we burn the user story using the story points over time. we can see here that we are doing a good job because we are burning points faster than we expect. But here we are late because this is the ideal trend. So as we can see here, we are late, and here we have more late. So maybe we can deliver this sprint on time, so maybe we need to drop some user story. And there is a lot of talking about definition of done, so we maybe need to drop some user story to deliver the other user story as a completed. I will show you. We can, if we go to see this PPIs for prime killer, it is not started yet, so maybe we can take this to, or maybe the coming sprint, and this will reflect if we open the backlog. Because the Burndown, we monitor the Burndown so we can know how our sprint is going to work. So in some point we maybe need to drop some user story. I believe if we are about to deliver 10 user stories, we may deliver 8 or 9 user stories but completed. And there is a lot of talking about definition of done, about the work is done. So delivering less user stories is better than delivering the whole user stories without completing each user stories. So this is very important here in Agile development. Okay, if I go to backlog, now we can see the velocity. It's very important, as we mentioned before, because depending on the velocity I can forecasting for the coming sprints. So we see here that in sprint 1 we completed 35 story points, and here 42, and we completed in sprint 3 18 story points current, and we have 13 not completed yet, and we expecting to finish this at the end of this sprint. So now we can know the velocity of the team, and we can depend on this velocity. For example, now we know that we completed about 35 story points, so now we can working on the next sprint to forecasting using this velocity of the team, and we can expect where we can put our sprints, divided our user story to the sprints. Thank you.